Hello, DreamRJ here. It's that time again. Today I just thought I would do a quick tutorial on the basics of Hammer, just going through explaining what things are properly for everyone. So what we'll do, we'll just open up the tutorial map that I made in the first video that I made for Hammer. So I'll just load this up. Okay, so let's just move into position. Okay, so this is that tutorial map that I made. You might recognize it if you watched the first video. And yeah, I know actually it's not a proper puzzle, but it's still it was still just showing you how to create a basic map. But in future videos I'll make this a better map, and I might even release it on the Steam Workshop properly so people can actually play it. Right, so first of all we've got, I'll go through these tool options. So first of all we've got this arrow button here. This is selection tool, so this is what you use to select things in your 3D view, or you can also select things in the other views as well, the 2Ds and stuff views. And then we've also got the magnify tool, which is a tool that is very rarely used or not needed for Portal 2 maps. The camera tool and are very rarely used, but that's just like the camera tool. I very rarely use it, so it's hard to explain what it does. Then we've got the create an entity tool. This is the tool that you use a lot to create entities like statics, dynamics, func instances, and stuff like that. And then we've got the block creation tool. This is what you use to create the bushes, like these bushes, these wall bushes, floor bushes, and stuff like that, and also the fizzler bushes and the laser field bushes as well. That's a tool you use all the time. That's a tool that is very useful, that you need. And then we've got the texture tool. The texture tool is used to texture the surfaces. You can do it in various ways, by pressing the whole brush, and that selects all of the brush sides, so every single thing. And then you can just click the texture tool button and you can texture the whole brush, or you can just texture the surface by clicking this tool first so it's open, and then just select that face, and then all that does, it selects this top face, and as you can see it's not selected any other faces, and so on. And if you want to select multiple faces, I've explained this in the first tutorial video, you just press the Control key on your keyboard like so, and then you can select multiple faces, and that just selects this top face only, not the other bush faces underneath, as you can see. And then you can just change the texture if you wanted to change it by clicking browse, and so on. And then we have got the apply current texture to selection tool, which I never use because you can do it all through this one, so you don't really need to use this much at all, if at all. And then we've got the apply decal tool. This is to apply certain textures to the walls, like for example you can find let's type decals in and see what it finds. You might find nothing. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, so as you can see, these are decals. There's quite a lot of decals you can add. So let's just say I wanted to add this to the wall, so I'll click this and then just click it on the wall, and as you can see it's now applied a decal to the wall. And the thing with decals is they're a pain, because you can move them about but you can't resize them. I don't think, unless what? I'm confused. What, you can resize them now? Let's see if I can resize it. Oh, I can. No, I can't. Yeah, you can't resize decals. It's been a while. I never use decals. I usually use the overlays, which I'll come to that one in a minute. Yeah, this one is the overlays. But yeah, you can. Decals is just they can be good. They can be good if you don't want to have loads of overlays, and you don't want to be able to resize them. But overlays are much better, because then you can resize overlays. And I'll quickly show that in the next one. So let's just delete that. So then we've got the overlays. So you click the overlays, and it's basically the same again. So you just click where you want the overlay, and as you can see, it's created the overlay there. And then if you click it, you can actually resize these ones. As you can see, I've just resized it. And also, have you noticed that what that has done is created 4, because I've got the texture lock. This is the texture lock hotkey at the top here. All these at the top, and then it's these 2. So if you click this texture lock, so let's just undo that. And then if you click this texture lock, what that'll do, if I resize this, it'll keep it all as 1. So it resizes it, but it keeps it all 1, so it doesn't multiply it by, you know, because this actual overlay is 32 units by 32 units big. So the actual images, and that's why when I resized it to 128, I mean to 64 by 64, it multiplied it by 4 when I had the texture lock button unticked, like this. Watch. You've always got to stick to what the original file size is, and it usually puts it into the world what the original size is anyway, so you can see. So if you are resizing it, you need to make sure that it doesn't, when you're stretching it, it doesn't look that bad, because if it does, just use a different overlay then, a different texture with different, because resizing it bigger can also make it look really bad in game and not very good. So that's just a tip. So yeah, that's the overlay. You also use the overlay to do the indicator lights. So I just changed the texture to the indicator lights to show you. So as you can see, these are the indicator lights. So you've got a floor one. So you've got indicator underscore lights underscore floor, and then you've got underscore light underscore wall, lights underscore wall. So because it's the wall, you just do that, and then just hang on, let's just do it again. So so you press the overlay button and then just click it on the wall, and there it appears on the wall, the indicator lights, as you can see. Also, that's another tip. As you can see, can you see how it's not showing up on this brush? It's because these 2 brushes are different. The 2 different brushes. So to fix that, it's a dead simple fix. You just double click it, and then where you can see brush faces, you click the pick tool, and then as you can see, it's already selected. So you just press the control key and then just click that brush, and then click apply, and then as you can see, it works now on this brush as well. So it shows up on this brush, and that's how you fix the overlays not showing up. And also with indicator light overlay, it's very important that you get it perfectly aligned on grid. As you can see, it's perfectly snapped to the grid, because I'm on. And also when you're doing indicator lights, it's good to go to a grid size of 8 with indicator lights, because it's just keeps it neat and tidy and much easier to make. And also with indicator lights, it's the same method with the texture lock. You actually do need texture lock unticked, so as you can see, it's unticked. So when you resize, you need to do this in the 2D views though, because you can't do the resizing in this 3D view, so you've got to do it in these 3 windows here. And then you can just resize, and then it just automatically creates, as you can see. So that's dead straightforward. But then obviously if I just undo that, A minute. As you can, right, so now it's back to normal. So then if I press the texture lock key, you'll see that it stretches them, and that is not what we want. So when you are stretching them to make them longer, you just unclick the texture lock button, and then you can do it, and then you'll just duplicate themselves, as you can see. So that's the indicator lights, and that's the overlay key, the button. Okay, and then we've got the clipping tool, and I've shown you the clipping tool in the first video we did. The clipping tool is very cool because you can cut brushes up into pieces and stuff. So let's just cut this floor piece up into 4 separate pieces. So as you can see, it's selected, so you just press the clipping tool and then you just do this, and as you can see, it's got white on that side and red on that side. So you need to click it again, and then that reverses it. So it's got the red on that side and the white on that side. The red is what it discards, and the right bit, pardon my W's and R's, I can't pronounce them very well. The right bit is what it keeps. So you need to click it one more time, and then it shows that you'll keep both parts because they've both gone right. With W's and R's again. So yeah, that's that. Now that's what we want, and then you just press the Enter key on the keyboard, and then that's just cut that two pieces into that brush into 2 pieces. And then to do it again, you just, and because you've already got it selected, you just do it again across the middle, and you just press the Enter key again, and then that just makes 4 brushes, as you can see. And then you just go back to the selection tool at the top corner left, and then you can select them individually. And you could always change the texture on them if you wanted to. Or if you wanted to add a hole in the floor, you can just do this. So on and so forth. So that's the selection tool. Now, this is the tool that is very fiddly and hard to use. This is called the vertex tool. And I very rarely use this tool because I always usually mess it up. I'm not very good with the vertex tool, so I try not to make sure that I don't really need to use it. But when I do, it always takes me a while to make it work and make it look correctly, especially with certain textures. Because of using the vertex tool with certain textures, the textures go all weird, and then you've got to mess about with the texture tool, and it can be very fiddly. But it is an awesome tool, the vertex tool. It's just very hard to master, to get it to understand it correctly. So I just quickly select this brush and click the vertex tool, and as you can see, you get loads of white and yellow dots, and it does look very confusing, and that's why I always find troubles with it. And I don't really understand the dots myself properly, even though I've been using Hammer for a few years now. A vertex tool I just tend to stay away from as much as I can, so I tend not to use it. So yeah, that's those tools. And now we'll just quickly explain the idea. So this is on the right side. So this is what you can use to select things in your world. So if you've got grouped objects, like if you remember from the first video, I grouped this light and the brushes, so they all group together. And if you wanted to select just this again, you'd need to click Objects, and then you can select this, because as you can see, it's not grouped now because I've selected the objects. But if I go back to group, if I unclick it by just clicking in the 2D anywhere, and if you go back to groups, as you can see, it's still grouped. It just makes it easier so you can edit things while they're still grouped. So you don't need to ungroup them. You can just press the objects, and then if it's the brush that you wanted to select that was in it, then because it's a solid, the brush, these brushes, well, it doesn't matter. You can do the objects too, but you can always use the solids as well. Also, if you need to keep an eye on these, because if you are copying and pasting brushes and they're tied to entities, you need to make sure that you're in objects when you're copying and pasting, because if you copy them in the solids, it moves the brush then back to the world, so it doesn't copy the entity. So if you've tied, say, this brush to a func detail or a func brush, a func underscore detail or a func underscore brush, it'll basically just put it back to the world, so it won't be a func brush or a func detail then. So it's always good to just use objects, really. But solids are very useful as well, but just always make sure to switch back to objects before you copy and paste stuff. So that's that. Then we've got the texture tool. So this is just a shortcut area for the texture, so you can just use the textures easier, browse and stuff. And this, the fist groups, what this is for is, this is a very useful too, because if you're working with a very complex map, and you've got a lot of brushes, a lot of entities, a lot of models and all the rest of it, you can toggle what is visible in the world basically. So as you can see, you've got these little tick boxes. So you've got world geometry. If you click that, it's basically shows the node raw textures. So if I click the entities, as you can see, it's got rid of all of the entities now. All of the start rooms have gone, and pretty much everything's gone from that one. And if I tick it again, they all show up again. It's just a very useful tool. And then you've got the detail, like if you've got detail brushes in your map, which is func details and props. And the props are the models, like the prop dynamics, the prop statics, the prop dynamic overrides, so that's what they are. So yeah, this is a very useful tool. You can also name things, named brushes as well, and give them their own group and stuff, and stuff like that. So it's very useful too. And you can also card and stuff, which is, I'll explain that in a later video if I get around to it. And then you've just got the entity tool. This is just another quick shortcut for the entity tool. So when you click this entity tool, then it becomes available to quickly type in. This is basically what you use to do it, but you can also just click into the world and it will just create the basic one, and then all you can do then is just double click it, and then you can just change it in this as well, what you want it to be, and then just click apply once you've applied it. So say I want to change this to a prop static, I just type it in, press apply, and then that makes that a prop static then. And the prop static is basically what you use for models, and the same as the prop dynamic, you use this for models like the fizzler model that we use for these fizzlers, and so on and so forth. There's loads of models you can use, and there's like over 2,394 models, but some of them aren't actually. Some of them are more custom models that I've created, and for a mod that LP3K90 was working on, but now they're not even in the mod anymore. But anyway, yeah. So you've got about 2,250 models to pick from to use in custom Portal 2 maps. So yeah, so that's the basics really. I'll just quickly explain these quickly. So this is a 3D view. I don't really know what that does properly, because when I click it, nothing really happens. So it doesn't really matter, I don't think, if it's ticked or unticked. These two are the minus and the plus grid sizes, so you can change the grid size here. So it's on Snap on Grid 8 at the bottom right corner. So if you press minus, it goes down to 4, 2, 1. It's usually when you're working with brushes, it's always good to be on 16 or 32 or 64 grid size. And then these, I think, are for the groups. Oh no, these tools I don't use. These are window states. Yeah, I don't use them too. And then you've got the undo and redo options. Then you've got ignore groups. So if you've got groups, you can click that, and then it just ignores the groups. It's another kind of option with this. But you know, I very rarely use the ignore group tab here. I just usually do this and click them here. It's easier. And then you've got these, I think this is called cordons. These are what you use for cordons. Oh no, sorry, these two are the cordons. These two are the cordons here. These ones here are the cordons. These are just, oh, these are the group. These are what you use to create viz groups. And these are the cordons. These I don't use. These two I've never used. And these basically just change what you can, how it looks in the world, and so on and so forth. And also this is wireframe and stuff like that. And then if you unclick this, this gets rid of all the node RARs. So it's always good to keep this ticked. But it can be useful to turn it off sometimes if you don't want to see the node RAR textures. You can just unclick it, and then if I go outside of the map now, you can't see the node RARs, as you can see. You can see through. It actually can be very useful, that. And then you just click it again to make it visible again. I don't know what that one does. That one's doesn't say what that one does. Oh, show detail models. Oh, that's what that one does. Yeah, but I very rarely use that. So yeah. So that was just a quick tutorial to explain basics. I will do some more tutorials to build this room in the future sometime when I get the time to. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and have fun.